Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching. I have a new toy. I think you can see it in the background there. I'll bring you over and give you a closer look at it and explain all the things that it can do. And then I'm going to try making almond and berry oat bars. Almost a health food, I guess. No added sugar, just the sweetness from the berries that you put in it. And it will be the first time that I've made these, so let's hope they turn out. And state right off the top here, this is not a paid product placement. The unit that I've bought, and I'm going to show you here in a second, is made by Breville, the same people that make the espresso machine, the special machine that I use. Perhaps there are other companies that produce something similar, but this thing is quite amazing. It's a convection oven, a toaster, an air fryer, and you can bake in it. There's something. Oh, it's also a slow cooker. I haven't used the slow cooker mode. I've used the bake. I've used the air fryer. I only had the thing for a little over a week, but it is quite amazing. And I am not being paid to promote it. And as I say, there are probably other companies that make something similar, but I bought it to replace my old toaster oven. It has a lot of other features. I'll bring you over now and give you a look at it. Well, hopefully you're able to read these. These are all the preset things that it has built into it. And I have done a few of them. Toast and bagels, obviously. But also I've done pizza in it twice, and it turns out a perfect pizza on the preset item. They just keep going down the scale here and selecting what you want. You can, even though they're preset, you can change the cooking time or the temperature if you feel that you need to. It's an amazing little machine. The item that I'm going to cook today is done in the convection oven. If you don't have a convection, a fan-assisted oven, you could do this in your conventional oven. You would probably want to increase the temperature 10 degrees or so, and keep an eye on it for the time to make sure that it isn't burning or whatever. But in the convection oven it would take less time. I ordered this cookbook separately. It did not come with the oven. Actually, not much by the way of recipes or instructions come with the oven. Well, it's pretty much self-explanatory as far as instructions go, but there were just 3 or 4 recipe cards that came with it. I knew that in advance because I'd read the comments, I guess, but this has a lot of items that a vegetarian like myself would be able to use. Of course, there are a lot of meat items as well, but I was pleased to see that there are so many items that just are doing vegetables. And I have done several things in it, some from frozen food, and some from fresh. I've made French fries both ways, a package of the frozen ones and then some made with my own potatoes. Both of them turned out very well. So let's have a look at the ingredients for the almond berry oat bars that we're going to make. There are 3 cups of rolled oats, a ½ cup of ground almonds, a ½ cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm using the double-acting baking powder. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. 3 eggs lightly beaten. A ½ cup of canola oil. It specified canola, but you could use any vegetable oil that doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. Canola is pretty much tasteless. I don't think I want to use olive oil. It would probably add quite an additional flavor there. 1/3 cup of milk, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 cups of mixed berries. And what I selected was blackberries and raspberries. They're not cheap when you buy them in these little packages, but I've been doing it all winter. They're a great treat. You definitely don't need to use a stand mixer for this, but I'm lazy. I'm going to use the stand mixer. Combining the dry ingredients, the 3 cups of oats, half cup of ground almonds, half cup of flour, all-purpose flour. So the looks of the recipe, nothing could be easier than making this. It's only going to take a minute or two here. And there's the baking powder, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Just combine those together. Now we'll combine the wet ingredients. The 3 eggs, canola oil, the milk, and the 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now we'll combine the wet and dry ingredients. That looks pretty good, I guess. Now I'm going to fold in the berries just very lightly. You don't want to make too much or mess them all up or mush them all up. I think that's that. We'll give this out and put it in the baking dish here. It says to spray your baking dish with one of the oil sprays. I did that, but now I'm going to go a step further. This is the one that has flour included. Hopefully I'm not making a big mistake. And I don't want these things to stick. We'll see, I guess. It smells good. All the berries and of course the cinnamon has a lovely fragrance. The mixer did sort of break up the raspberries, but the blackberries are pretty much still whole. Got that sort of evenly distributed. I'm using the convection oven bake cycle, 330 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius. You can set this back to do either Celsius or Fahrenheit, and for 25 minutes. And it goes through a preheating cycle before you put anything in there. It'll beep again in 4 or 5 minutes to let you know that it has reached temperature. And you might be able to hear the fan going. Well, it's in the oven at 330 degrees. It's been there now for a couple of minutes, so we'll wait another 20 minutes or so and see what comes out of the oven, I guess. It's a nice brown on top, so I'm assuming that it's done. And the smell of it cooking, of course the cinnamon, but also the fruit I think that's in there. Smells absolutely delicious. And here comes the hardest part. You have to wait until it is completely cooled before you can cut them. Obviously they would be so soft they'd fall apart at this point. Hopefully they won't after they've completely cooled. But I'll bring you back at that point. Well, I guess I'll say they're completely cooled. Slightly warm to the taste. Beautiful spring day here. Plus 9 degrees Celsius. Angel and I are just back from walking around the local golf course. That's cleared the edges. Before I do this, I'm going to show you something. This platter is just, what do you call it? Brand name. Noritake. It's just stoneware, Japanese stoneware. But what fascinates me is, if you can read it or not, get it close enough for you, or is that just a blur? But the pattern is called Campobello. And as many of you probably know, I live on the island of Campobello on the east coast of Canada. There may be numerous Campobellos in the world. I know of two others, one in the southern United States, I think either North or South Carolina, and one in Italy. I think it's on the island of Sicily. As I say, there are probably others. But, every once in a while I go on eBay and I just do a search for Campobello. Sometimes you don't come up with anything. I have seen old documents, old maps that people are selling, and several paintings that are done by Campobello artists that are no longer with us. Always popular items on there. But I did a search and this platter came up for practically nothing. I probably paid more for the shipping than I did for the platter. But I had to have it because the pattern is called Campobello. This stuff slices pretty easily anyway. I'm sure I won't have uniform sizes, I never do. We'll see if we can get them out of here. Yeah, it's not bad. So I'm not cut all the way down through, but they're coming out nicely, so I guess they must have been cooled enough. If they taste as good as they smell, they are going to be really good. The fragrance is very inviting. I'll bring you back once I have all of these out on my Campobello tray here. Well, there they are, all cut and on the tray. I'm very pleased with the way they came out. I've been worried that it might stick or be too soft and fall apart, but they're sturdy enough that nothing like that happens. I'll select this one and we'll see what they're like. I sort of picked a very thick one, wide anyway. They are good. And almost a health food other than that little bit of oil that's in there. No added sugar. And all that oatmeal is good for you. And the fresh fruit. And as I said earlier, talking a mouthful again. You shouldn't have any trouble making this in a conventional oven. You wouldn't need to have a convection oven, I wouldn't think, but if you give it a try, let me know. They're not sweet because there's no sugar added. There's lots of flavor. The cinnamon and the fruit, and the oats, of course. Well, thank you very much for watching.